What if the very pain you've been running from holds the precise lesson your soul needs to learn? The Stoics taught a radical truth. Pain is not an enemy to be vanquished, but a wise, if severe, teacher to be studied. Join us as we learn to sit with this teacher and unlock its hidden wisdom. Don't hide from pain. Study it. Stoic Strength, Emotion, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Facing pain without resistance. A great ship does not fight the storm. It aligns itself with the powerful waves, finding stability not in rigid opposition, but in yielding acceptance. So too must we learn to face the inevitable storms of pain that life brings. For it is in the art of non-resistance that we find our deepest strength. When emotional or physical pain arises, the sharp sting of betrayal, the dull ache of loss, the searing frustration of failure, our first and most powerful instinct is to resist. We tense our bodies, we clench our minds, and we internally scream, "This should not be happening." This resistance feels natural, like a necessary act of self-defense. The profound problem, as the Stoics understood, is that this resistance is a second arrow we willingly shoot into ourselves. The initial pain is the first arrow, an often unavoidable part of the human condition. Our fierce resistance to that pain, our mental and emotional battle against what is already happening, is the second, self-inflicted arrow. It is this second arrow, not the first, that causes the vast majority of our suffering. It is a futile and exhausting war against reality that drains our energy and magnifies our distress. The transformative solution is the courageous practice of facing pain without resistance. It is the conscious choice to drop the rope in the tug-of-war with reality, to intentionally and mindfully relax the mind and body in the very presence of the painful sensation. The core Stoic idea is that pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is the raw, physical, or emotional sensation. Suffering is the elaborate story of resistance, judgment, and fear that we build around that sensation. By learning to experience pain without the narrative of resistance, we can endure it with a grace and tranquility we never thought possible. We learn to let the wave of pain wash over us, secure in the knowledge that we, the unshakable shoreline, will remain long after the wave has receded. The actionable steps to cultivate this are immediate and practical. First, the next time you feel a surge of pain, intentionally relax your body. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, soften your stomach. Release the physical armor of resistance. Second, turn your mental focus toward the pure physical sensation of the pain itself. Observe it with a neutral, scientific curiosity. Where is it located? Is it sharp or dull? Does it pulse or is it constant? Simply watch it without judging it as bad. Third, silently repeat the powerful mantra, "I can allow this feeling to be here for a moment." This practice dramatically reduces suffering. You will notice that the raw sensation of pain is far more bearable than the agonizing experience of fighting it. You will conserve immense mental energy and build a profound sense of inner fortitude, knowing you can face hardship without crumbling. Your practice for this week is to apply this to a minor discomfort. A headache, muscle soreness after a workout, or a moment of intense frustration. Instead of immediately resisting it or seeking distraction, practice observing it with a relaxed and accepting curiosity for just 60 seconds. This is your first step in learning from pain. Facing pain without resistance is the foundation. But what can this pain actually teach us? Our next lesson will explore how to understand suffering's hidden messages. If you are ready to stop fighting reality and start learning from it, show your support by liking this video. Lesson 2. Understanding suffering's hidden messages. Pain, when it arrives at our door, is a messenger. If we slam the door in its face, we will never hear the important message it has been sent to deliver. The courageous soul learns to invite the messenger in, to sit with it, and to listen with focused attention to what it has to say. Our typical reaction to suffering is to view it as a meaningless and random affliction. We see it as a brutal interruption to our happiness, a cosmic injustice that serves no purpose other than to cause us misery. We cry out, "Why is this happening to me?" And in doing so, we frame ourselves as the passive victim of a cruel fate. The problem with this perspective is that it renders us powerless and keeps us trapped in a cycle of complaint and resentment. By assuming our pain is meaningless, we guarantee that we will derive no meaning from it. We miss the profound opportunity for growth that is encoded within every single difficult experience. The transformative solution is to adopt the mindset of a student and to approach your suffering with a spirit of inquiry. It is the practice of asking not, "Why is this happening to me?" but the far more empowering question, "What is this trying to teach me?" The core Stoic wisdom is that nothing in life is truly neutral. Everything can be used as fuel for the fire of our character. Suffering is a particularly potent form of fuel. It often carries messages about a flawed belief we hold, a life path that is no longer serving us, an attachment we need to release, or a capacity for strength we did not know we possessed. Pain is a diagnostic tool for the soul, showing us exactly where we need to grow. The actionable steps to decode these messages require quiet reflection after the initial intensity of the pain has subsided. First, get out a journal and write at the top of the page what this pain might be teaching me is. Then, write freely. Is it teaching you the importance of health, the value of a relationship you took for granted, the need to set better boundaries? Is it revealing an attachment to an outcome that was never in your control? Second, consider what strength this pain is asking you to develop. Is it patience, forgiveness, resilience, courage? Third, look for the underlying belief that is being challenged. Often our greatest suffering comes when a deeply held, unexamined belief about how the world should be collides with how the world is. The benefit of this practice is that it transforms you from a victim into an active participant in your own life story. You will begin to see challenges not as cruel punishments, but as a curriculum designed for your own evolution. Your suffering will become meaningful and therefore more bearable. Your practice is to reflect on a past suffering that still holds a charge for you. Apply this investigative process to it. Ask what it taught you, what strength it forced you to build, and what flawed belief it exposed. Find the lesson hidden in the scar. Once we begin to understand the messages in our pain, we can take the next step. Our following lesson will explore how to reframe pain as our greatest inner teacher. If you are ready to become a student of your own life, please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 3. Reframing pain as inner teacher. The raw ore in the earth is not a beautiful sword, but it contains the potential for one. It is the intense and painful process of the forge, the fire, the hammer, the quenching, that transforms the crude material into an object of strength and purpose. Pain is the forge of the human spirit, and we can learn to see it not as destruction, but as a powerful and transformative teacher. We are conditioned to label pain as bad. It is an unwelcome intruder, an error in the system, a negative experience to be avoided at all costs. This immediate and automatic judgment colors our entire experience, making it impossible to see any potential value in what we are going through. The problem with this rigid good-bad labeling is that it locks us into a purely adversarial relationship with a fundamental aspect of human existence. By framing pain as only and always a negative, we close our minds to its instructive power. We fight our teacher, and in doing so, we fail to learn the vital lessons it offers. The transformative solution is the mental art of reframing. It is the conscious decision to suspend the automatic label of bad and instead to apply a new frame. This is my teacher. It is the practice of viewing your pain as a challenging but benevolent mentor whose sole purpose is to make you wiser and stronger. The core Stoic idea is that our perception is our power. It is not the event itself, but our judgment about the event that determines our experience. By choosing to reframe pain as a teacher, we fundamentally alter our relationship to it. We move from a state of fearful resistance to one of courageous and curious engagement. We begin to look for the lesson in the hardship, the opportunity in the obstacle. This reframe does not magically eliminate the pain, but it infuses it with a sense of purpose, which makes all the difference. The actionable steps to practice this reframe require a conscious shift in your inner dialogue. First, the moment you recognize a painful experience, make the verbal declaration, either silently or out loud, "This is my teacher." Second, ask the teacher a question. What are you here to show me? Approach the situation with the humility of a student who is eager to learn. Third, after the experience, reflect on the lesson learned. Explicitly acknowledge the wisdom you have gained from this teacher, solidifying the value of the experience in your mind. The benefit of this practice is that you will begin to navigate life's inevitable hardships with a newfound sense of purpose and even gratitude. You will no longer feel like a victim of circumstance, but like a dedicated apprentice in the grand school of life. The painful moments will lose their terror and become instead your most profound opportunities for growth. Your call to action for this week is to apply this reframe to a small, everyday frustration. When you get stuck in traffic or when a piece of technology doesn't work, instead of getting angry, pause and say, "This is my teacher." Then ask, "What is it teaching me right now?" Patience, acceptance of what I cannot control. This is how you train the reframing muscle. Reframing pain as a teacher prepares our mind. But how do we manage the raw, overwhelming emotions that come with it? Our next lesson will explore the path to emotional mastery through radical acceptance. If this idea of a new frame has given you a new perspective, share your thoughts in the comments. Lesson 4. Emotional mastery through acceptance. The mighty river does not fight the rocks in its path. It flows over and around them. Its power derived not from confrontation, but from its fluid and unwavering acceptance of the landscape. Emotional mastery is not the suppression of our feelings, but the art of allowing them to flow through us with this same powerful acceptance. When we are faced with the intense emotions that accompany pain, grief, anger, fear, despair, our instinct is often to build a dam. We try to block the feelings, to push them down, to pretend they are not there, believing that to feel them is a sign of weakness or a loss of control. The problem is that a dam built against the river of emotion is destined to break. The suppressed feelings do not disappear. They build pressure behind the scenes, eventually bursting forth in uncontrolled outbursts where they leak out sideways as chronic anxiety, depression, and physical illness. Our attempt to control our emotions by suppressing them only ensures that they will eventually control us. The transformative solution is the practice of radical emotional acceptance. It is the courageous choice to allow your feelings to exist, to flow through you without judgment and without the need to immediately act upon them. It is the understanding that you are the container, not the emotion itself. The core Stoic wisdom is that emotions, like the weather, are natural and transient phenomena. They are not good or bad. They simply are. True emotional mastery lies in developing the capacity to sit in the presence of any emotion, no matter how uncomfortable, and to observe it with a calm and steady mind. This acceptance does not mean you approve of the situation or that you will not take action later. It simply means that for this moment, you allow the feeling to be exactly as it is. The actionable steps to practice this acceptance are about creating a safe inner space for your feelings. First, when a strong emotion arises, find a quiet place to sit for a few minutes. Turn your attention inward and locate the feeling in your body. Second, give yourself permission to feel it fully for a short period of time. Drop the story and the judgment and just experience the pure physical sensation of the grief, the anger, or the fear. Third, breathe into the sensation. Imagine your breath flowing into and around the emotion, creating space and softness. This communicates to your nervous system that the feeling is not a threat. The benefit of this practice is that your emotions will lose their terrifying power over you. By allowing them to flow freely, they will often dissipate much more quickly than if you had resisted them. You will cultivate a deep and fearless intimacy with your own inner world, and you will develop the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can handle any emotional state. Your motivational practice is to choose a minor, uncomfortable emotion you feel this week, like boredom or impatience. Instead of immediately reaching for a distraction, sit with the feeling for 2 full minutes. Practice allowing it to be there without judgment. This is your training for the larger emotional waves. Acceptance allows us to master our emotions. But how can we use the very energy of pain to make us stronger? Our next lesson will reveal how pain can become a direct path to power. Lesson 5. Pain is a path to power. The archer who trains only on a calm day will be useless in a gale. It is the one who practices in the wind and the rain who develops the unshakable aim and steady hand of a true master. Pain is the adverse weather that, if used correctly, forges us into masters of our own lives. We have been taught to view pain as a debilitating force, something that diminishes us, weakens us, and holds us back from our potential. We see a life filled with hardship as a cursed or unfortunate one, and we see a life of ease as the ultimate prize. The problem with this mindset is that it is fundamentally untrue and deeply disempowering. A life without pain or challenge is a life without growth. The muscle that is never strained becomes atrophied. The character that is never tested remains weak and unreliable. Our avoidance of pain is the very thing that prevents us from developing the power we seek. The transformative solution is to reframe pain not just as a teacher, but as a direct and potent path to personal power. It is the conscious choice to view every hardship as a workout in the gymnasium of virtue, an opportunity to build the spiritual and psychological strength that is impossible to develop in times of ease. The core Stoic idea is the obstacle is the way. The thing that seems to be blocking our path is, in fact, the path itself. The pain of a betrayal is the perfect opportunity to build the power of forgiveness. The pain of a failure is the perfect opportunity to build the power of resilience. The pain of a loss is the perfect opportunity to build the power of gratitude for what remains. Every painful event is a custom-designed training session for our soul. The actionable steps require you to adopt the mindset of an athlete in training. First, when you are facing a painful situation, explicitly ask yourself, what power is this event giving me the opportunity to build? Name the specific virtue or strength. Second, consciously engage with the challenge as if it were a set of repetitions in a workout. With each moment of endurance, tell yourself, I am getting stronger. Third, after the challenge is passed, acknowledge the strength gain. Take a moment to appreciate the new level of resilience or patience you have built, just as an athlete would appreciate their newfound physical strength. The benefit of this practice is that you will become anti-fragile, not just resilient to shocks, but actually stronger because of them. You will begin to welcome challenges, knowing that they are the very source of your power. You will no longer fear hardship, but will see it as the raw material from which you forge your greatest self. Your call to action is to look at a current challenge in your life. Instead of seeing it as a problem, reframe it as your personal training ground. Identify the specific muscle you are building, be it patience, courage, or discipline, and write it down as a reminder of the power you are gaining. We have learned how to transform our relationship with pain, but how do we carry these lessons forward into our daily lives? Our next lesson will focus on integrating these lessons into our daily strength. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue this journey. Lesson 6. Integrating lessons into daily strength. The wisdom gained in a library is useless until it is applied on the battlefield of life. The profound lessons we learn from our pain must be integrated into our daily thoughts and actions, becoming not just intellectual concepts, but the very fiber of our being. It is one thing to have a philosophical breakthrough in a moment of deep reflection or intense suffering. We feel a sense of clarity and resolve. But as time passes and the intensity of the experience fades, it is easy to slip back into our old habits of thought and our old ways of reacting to the world. The problem is the gap between insight and integration. A lesson that is not consciously practiced and reinforced will eventually be forgotten. The wisdom gained from our pain will remain a dormant seed rather than growing into the mighty tree of our character. Lasting change requires a bridge between what we have learned and how we live. The transformative solution is the habit of conscious integration. It is the practice of deliberately weaving the lessons learned from your pain into the fabric of your everyday life through small, consistent, and intentional actions. The core Stoic idea is that philosophy is a daily practice, not a theoretical exercise. A person's true philosophy is not what they say, but how they live. To integrate the lessons of pain, we must create daily rituals and mental models that remind us of the strength and wisdom we have gained. This ensures that the lessons are not just memories, but are alive and active within us, guiding our choices in every moment. The actionable steps are about creating systems of reinforcement. First, create a wisdom repository. This could be a journal or a digital note where you write down the key lessons you have learned from your most challenging experiences. Review this repository once a week. Second, create daily affirmations based on these lessons. If pain taught you resilience, your daily affirmation might be, "I have faced challenges before, and I have the strength to face whatever comes today." Third, practice active remembrance. When you face a minor daily frustration, consciously recall a time you endured a much greater pain. This puts the current problem into perspective and activates the strength you have already built. The benefit of this practice is that your hard-won wisdom will become a permanent part of you. You will build a character that is deeply rooted in the lessons of your own life experience. Your past pain will cease to be a source of trauma and will instead become your greatest source of strength and guidance. Your practice for this week is to create your wisdom repository. Write down at least one major lesson that a past hardship has taught you. Then, create a single, powerful affirmation from that lesson and repeat it to yourself each morning for the next 7 days. Integrating our lessons builds our character. But how do we ensure this strength is truly our own, a fortress built from within? Our final lesson will explore the art of building Stoic resilience from the inside out. Lesson 7. Building Stoic resilience from within. The house built upon the sand will be washed away by the first great storm, no matter how beautifully it is decorated. The house built upon a foundation of solid rock will endure. True lasting resilience is not a facade we present to the world. It is a deep inner fortress built upon the bedrock of our own virtuous character. We often think of resilience as the ability to bounce back, to return to normal after a setback. We see it as a kind of toughness or grit that allows us to endure hardship. While this is part of the picture, it is incomplete. The problem with this view is that it can lead to a brittle form of resilience. We might learn to endure pain to tough it out, but if our foundation is weak, if we are still dependent on external validation, if our actions are not aligned with our values, we will eventually crack under pressure. True resilience is more than just toughness. It is a deep, flexible strength. The final and most profound solution is to build your resilience not on your ability to endure, but on your unwavering commitment to virtue. It is the understanding that the ultimate source of your strength is your own character, which is the one thing no external event can ever touch. The core of all Stoic teaching is that the goal of life is to live with virtue, with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. A resilient soul is one whose primary focus is not on achieving external outcomes, which are uncontrollable, but on acting with virtue in every moment, which is completely controllable. This is the unshakable foundation. When your sense of self is based on your commitment to being a good person, the slings and arrows of fortune lose their power to harm you. Failure cannot diminish your character. The opinion of others cannot touch your integrity. Pain cannot corrupt your virtue. You become invincible in the truest sense of the word. The actionable steps are about shifting your focus from outcomes to inputs. First, at the start of each day, set an intention not to achieve a certain goal, but to embody a certain virtue. Today, my goal is to practice patience, or today I will act with courage. Second, throughout the day, when faced with a choice, ask yourself, what would the most virtuous version of myself do right now? Let that be your guide. Third, at the end of the day, judge your success not by what you accomplished, but by how well you lived up to your chosen virtue. This is the only scorecard that matters. The benefit of this practice is the creation of a truly unshakable inner peace and strength. Your happiness will no longer be held hostage by the unpredictable events of the world. You will have built your house upon the rock of your own character, a fortress that will stand firm against any storm life can throw at it. Your final call to action is a commitment to this shift in focus. For one entire day this week, make your only goal to act with a single chosen virtue. Release your attachment to outcomes and focus solely on the quality of your own actions. This is the master practice of a Stoic life. You now have a complete guide to transforming pain from an enemy into your greatest ally. Which of these 7 lessons will be your focus as you begin this new journey? Let us know in the comments. Today we have learned the profound Stoic secret that pain is not to be hidden from, but to be studied. By facing it without resistance, listening to its messages, and reframing it as our teacher, we turn the greatest challenges of life into our most powerful sources of wisdom, strength, and resilience. Thank you for dedicating your time to this deep and courageous work. If you found value in this guide, please like, comment with your own insights, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion as you continue to build your unshakable inner fortress.